Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the concentric circles with level 1 reading. So the first thing, if you look at your direction page, it asks for number 1, it says across the top of the paper, write the title of the work and the author's name, which is what we did here. The number 2 says draw 3 large concentric circles on paper, one circle inside another. You can do this on chart paper, on construction paper, on notebook paper. You can use the blank PDF that's provided for you in your module, or you can do it on Google Draw, which is what I've done here. There's tons of ways. There's no one right way. So we're going to be focusing on level 1, and that's going to be the innermost circle here and the easiest level. So for the innermost circle, we're going to be concentrating on the concrete level of meaning, reading on the lines. So the first thing that you're going to do in this innermost circle is you're going to write the most significant word from the part of the work that was assigned. And what I did is looked at our collaborative board where you shared your words, and I just chose a word from that board to complete this with. So I chose scream, and so I've written it here. And the next thing you do is you're going to write multiple dictionary definitions of the word. So at least 2, that's what I usually tell my students, at least put 2 dictionary definitions of the word. And then, of course, that's what this is here, to cry out loudly as from pain or fear, a long, loud, piercing cry. So that's the first step. The next thing that you're going to do is explain why the word is important to the meaning of the work by placing it in the context of the narrative. So if you remember, context is what's happening in the story when this particular word was being used. So it's not necessary, it's not evidence, it's just what's happening in the story. And this is what I have said. In this scene, young Billy and his new coonhound sleep in a cave where they hear the frightening screams of a mountain lion. So that's the second step. And then the last step for level 1 is you quote the entire sentence in which the word appears, or at least enough of the sentence to reveal the word's use and context. Make sure that you're citing the evidence that you have used. The high pitch of the scream shattered the silence of the quiet night. It screamed its way into the cave and rang out like a blacksmith's anvil against the rock walls. So these aren't my words. That comes directly from the text. So that's why I've cited it. So that is how you complete level 1 of the concentric circle. After you complete level 1 of the concentric circle, you will move to level 2. For level 2, you're going to be using the middle circle of your concentric circle, which will be this here. So we're going to be ignoring this for now. This was what we did for level 1 in that that innermost circle. So now we've moved on to the middle. Remember, for level 2, you're thinking about reading between the lines. I remind students that this is where they will make inferences based on what the author has told them and what they already know. In the middle circle, you're going to be concentrating on the abstract meaning of the text. So the first step that you will take is to draw 4 images from the assigned reading. Students tend to want to spend a lot of time perfecting these drawings. They feel like that's the most important part of their presentation, and they want to make sure it's colorful and neat and pretty, and they fret over the fact that they can only draw stick figures. So it's important to remind them that it's fine, that the drawing itself really isn't the most important part of the lesson. It will be later the sentences that they write that go with them, or the explanation that they provide for them. This is another reason why I like to use the Google Draw or a digital form of the concentric circles, because then they can just Google these images and not have to spend as much time actually drawing them out. So once they decide on the 4 images, they then have to write explanations with these images. So they have to be able to explain the connection between the image and the word that they chose for level 1. So for me, I would have to be able to explain this image of this cave and how it relates or connects to the word scream. So this is the sentence that I've chosen, or the explanation that I've chosen. This is a kind of cave that Billy was in when he heard the scream. A cave would make the scream echo and seem even more terrifying. Then this is the next image that I've chosen. This illustrates the primal way that humans react when threatened by a wild animal. Billy is screaming inside as he hears the cat scream outside. All right, then the third image that I found was that of a mountain lion. The scream of the cat is the catalyst for the whole episode, causing the consternation of the boy and his dogs. Then the last image is of a puppy howling. The boy pup bawls back at the mountain lion, which is his way of screaming. Even as a puppy, he has the instinct for protecting his pack, Billy and the little girl pup. So this would be level 2. Just refreshing our memory of level 2, it's reading between the lines. You're using what you know plus what the author has told you to come up with your explanation of the images that you've chosen. They can literally choose any image. It's as long as their explanation makes a connection between the image and the word from level 1. So that is the explanation for level 2. Now we're going to be talking about level 3 of the concentric circles. So level 3 is this outermost circle here. It's kind of my words are all kind of getting jumbled up, but let's just focus on this third circle, not the first two. Remember that level 3 is reading beyond the lines. In the outer circle, we're going to concentrate on the thematic level of meaning. So in this circle, you're going to be writing 2 thematic statements drawn from the significant word that you chose in level 1 and the images you drew in level 2. I like to remind my students that thematic statements are universal statements that they're not going to refer directly to the text that you just read, so that you could take those statements and put them with other works that were similar. They could fit with other things, so you can't be specific to the text when you're writing these thematic statements. A lot of times students want to talk about the main character or the title of the novel or the text that they read, and then in that case it wouldn't be a thematic statement. I remind them that we are in level 3, which means we're reading beyond the lines. So in level 1 and 2, we used author, what the author was telling us, and then level 2 we used inferences, what the author was making inferences with what the author told us plus what we already know. And then in level 3, you're moving beyond that. So I like to remind them that level 3 doesn't include the text because we've moved beyond the text. We're using the things we learned in level 1 and 2 to create our thematic statement. Thematic statements have to be in complete sentences because otherwise it would be a thematic idea. Like a one word, like hope or fear or friendship. But for us in level 3, we're writing the complete sentence. So it's a thematic statement. Think about thematic statements as making as being a complete sentence, and they're making an assertion regarding a universal truth. You can't mention specific characters or titles. You should be able to take these thematic statements and apply them to many different works. So for us, for today, our thematic statement has to relate back to our significant word, and our images. And so I come up with these two thematic statements. The first one is human beings can overcome their fear and act courageously even when threatened by extreme danger. And then the second one down here, I said emotions such as fear reveal the primitive animalistic side of human beings. So we could take these two thematic statements and put them with many different works. So I didn't talk specifically about a character or a title or an author in my thematic statement. So remember, you're moving beyond the lines, beyond the text. The last thing that you could have your students do is they could choose their favorite thematic statement or the best thematic statement, or even you could choose the thematic statement that you feel like is the most fitting, and they could use that as a thesis statement for an essay. So they could write an essay where they are analyzing the meaning of the assigned reading that you have given them. For us today, we won't do the essay just because of time, but just know that that is an option for a next step for the concentric circles.